All right, folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever found a random penny on the ground, picked it up, and thought, it's just a penny? Well, what if I told you that one of those little copper coins could be worth a life-changing $2.5 million? Yeah, I know what you're thinking, come on, no way. But I'm dead serious. Somewhere out there, a 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is sitting in someone's jar of spare change, completely unappreciated. Today, we're going to dive deep into this incredible story. I'll break down why this coin is so valuable, what to look for, and how you can check your own collection to see if you're holding on to a hidden fortune. And trust me, you'll never look at pennies the same way again. Before we get started, let me tell you about the time I almost threw away a coin worth hundreds of dollars. It's a lesson you do not want to learn the hard way. So, picture this. A few years ago, I was going through my old change jar. You know, that jar we all have where pennies go to disappear forever? I was about to cash them in at a coin machine. But at the last second, I thought, let me check for anything special. I wasn't expecting to find much, but then boom, I spotted a weird-looking penny. It was worn, but something about it caught my eye. Long story short, I decided to research it instead of tossing it in with the rest. Turns out it was a rare error coin worth over 500 bucks. Imagine if I had dumped it into the machine for face value. That would have been the most painful 98-cent Coinstar fee of my life. Never underestimate a penny. And now, let's get into why this 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is the holy grail of modern pennies. Alright, so let's break it down. Normally, pennies made in 1979 should have a mint mark, which tells you where they were made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and P for Philadelphia, though Philly sometimes skips the mark. But here's where it gets interesting. A very small number of 1979 pennies were struck without a mint mark at all, and these are incredibly rare. Why? Because they weren't supposed to exist in the first place. Some theories suggest it was a die error, while others believe it might have been an intentional test strike that somehow made its way into circulation. Either way, collectors go absolutely crazy for these coins. And now, let's talk about why one of these bad boys recently sold for a jaw-dropping $2.50 million. Just recently. A pristine 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny went up for auction and sent collectors into a frenzy. It was in exceptional condition, graded at MS 67+, which basically means it looked like it was minted yesterday. That's right, someone paid more for a penny than most people pay for their houses. And that's because, in the world of numismatics, fancy word for coin collecting, rarity plus condition equals big money. Now, before you start checking every 1979 penny you've ever touched, let me give you a few tips on what to look for. If your 1979 penny has a D or S, sorry, it's not the golden ticket. But if there's no mint mark at all, you might have something special. If it's scratched up and beat to death, it's probably not worth millions, but it could still have some value. The higher the grade, the bigger the payday. There are fakes out there. If you think you have one, take it to a reputable coin dealer or grading service like PCGS or NGC. And here's the most important tip. Don't clean it. I know, it's tempting to make it look shiny, but cleaning a coin can ruin its value. Collectors love natural patina. Okay, let's say you hit the jackpot and find a 1979 no-mint mark penny. First, get it authenticated. A verified grading service will tell you if it's legit. Then, auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers can help you get the most for it. Just because it's rare doesn't mean it's instantly worth $2.5 million. Prices depend on condition, demand, and a bit of luck. But even a decent grade 1 could sell for thousands. So, there you have it. The story of a tiny 1979 penny that turned into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And who knows? You might have one sitting in your pocket right now. When was the last time you checked your change? If it's been a while, maybe it's time to take a closer look. You could be walking around with a fortune and not even know it. And hey, if you love learning about coins worth big money, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I drop new videos all the time, breaking down rare finds, collecting strategies, and the wild world of coin values. Also, leave a comment below. What's the most valuable coin you've ever found? I'd love to hear your stories. Alright, that's it for today. Now, go check those pennies. Hey, everyone, have you ever found a penny in your pocket and thought, just another penny, and tossed it into a jar? Or, let's be honest, the couch cushions? Well, what if I told you that one of those pennies could be worth a life-changing $2.60 million? Yeah, you heard me right. Today, we're talking about a 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that sold for a jaw-dropping fortune. And guess what? It could be hiding in your pocket right now. Before you go flipping over every penny you've ever touched, let me break it all down for you. How to spot it, why it's so rare, and how you can cash in if you ever get lucky enough to find one. Stick around, because I've got a crazy personal story about a time I almost threw away a valuable coin, and you won't want to make the same mistake. First off, let's get one thing straight. Most 1971 pennies have a little letter under the date, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But if yours has no letter at all, that means it was made at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but doesn't that mean millions of these were made? Yes, but here's where it gets interesting. A small number of 1971 Lincoln pennies were struck in a way that makes them incredibly rare. We're talking about a special kind of error that turns an ordinary penny into a millionaire's dream. What makes this penny worth $2.60 million? The magic is in the double die obverse. Now, I know double die sounds like a heavy metal band, but it's actually a mistake in the minting process. When the die that stamps the coin shifts slightly, it creates a doubling effect on the design. And in the case of the 1971 penny, it caused the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust to look slightly doubled. Well, coin collectors love errors like this, especially when they're dramatic and easy to spot. And because so few of these 1971 double die pennies exist, the demand is through the roof. In 2024, one sold at auction for a whopping $2.6 million. That's a whole mansion for the price of a penny. All right, time to go treasure hunting. Grab your magnifying glass, or, let's be honest, just zoom in with your phone camera. Look closely at the words Liberty and In God We Trust. If the letters appear doubled, you might be holding onto a jackpot. Also, check the date. Some of these error coins show doubling there too. Now, before you start planning your retirement, you'll want to get it verified by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. You don't want to be that person who thinks they found $1 million coin, only to find out it's just a well-loved penny that's seen too many vending machines. Let me tell you about the time I almost made a huge mistake with a coin. Years ago, I was at a flea market, digging through a random box of old coins. I found a penny that looked kinda odd. Something about the lettering seemed off. But instead of checking it right then and there, I figured, it's just a penny, and tossed it back in the box. Later that day, I got curious and looked up pennies with doubled letters. My heart dropped. I had just left behind a 1955 double-die Lincoln penny, one of the most famous error coins ever. It was worth at least $1,000. I rushed back to the flea market the next day, but of course, the box was gone. Moral of the story? Always check your pennies, folks. One tiny detail on a 1971 penny could mean the difference between 1 cent and a couple million bucks. It just goes to show that sometimes, the little things in life are worth a second look. If you enjoyed this and want more insider tips on rare coins and hidden treasures, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'll be bringing you more stories, more valuable finds, and of course, more ways to turn spare change into real cash. All right, let's talk about pocket change. How many times have you dug into your couch cushions, picked up a penny, and thought, just 1 cent? Well, let me tell you, sometimes, that little copper coin can be worth a fortune. And I'm not talking about a few bucks. I'm talking about life-changing money. Today, we're diving into the 1964 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that, under the right conditions, can be worth up to $2.7 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $2.7 million. For a penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, sure. Let me go check my penny jar real quick. And honestly, you should. Because this isn't just some urban legend. These valuable pennies are out there. And if you're lucky enough to have one, well, let's just say your days of scrounging for gas money might be over. Stick with me. Because I'm about to break down what makes this coin so valuable, how you can spot one, and why the 1964 D. Lincoln penny is basically the unicorn of pocket change. All right, so what's the deal with the 1964 D. penny? Why would anyone pay millions for it? Let's break it down. The 1964 D. penny was minted in Denver, hence the little D mint mark under the date. Now, 1964 was an interesting time for U.S. coinage. The country was in the middle of a coin shortage, and the government was making changes left and right to keep up with demand. Back then, pennies were still made mostly of copper, unlike today's pennies, which are mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. But here's where it gets interesting. Some 1964 D pennies were struck on the wrong planchets being the blank metal discs used to make coins. Some were accidentally struck on silver dime planchets, others on leftover-proof coin blanks, and a few were double-struck or had other unique errors. And that, my friends, is where the real money comes in. Now, let's talk about the star of the show. The ultra-rare 1964 D penny that sold for a staggering $2.7 million. This wasn't just any penny. It was struck on a silver planchet instead of a regular copper one. It had almost no wear, meaning it looked nearly brand new even decades later. Coin grading is a big deal. The higher the grade, the higher the value. This particular penny had an extremely high grade from the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. Now, the chances of finding one of these are slim, but not impossible. And if you do, you could be looking at a life-changing payday. All right, so now you're probably thinking, how do I know if I have one of these? Good question. Make sure it has the little D under the date. That means it was made in Denver. A regular 1964 D penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If yours is significantly lighter or heavier, it might be a rare air. If it looks silvery instead of the usual copper color, that's a sign it could have been struck on a different planchet. If it looks brand new with no scratches or wear, you might be onto something. Now, here's where things get fun. I once found a 1964 D penny while digging through an old jar of change at my grandma's house. I got all excited, thinking maybe I had struck it rich. I checked the weight, the mint mark, everything. Then I showed it to a coin dealer, and he took one look and said, "Buddy, this one's worth about 5 cents. Not exactly the millions I was hoping for, but hey, a profit is a profit, right? Let's say you check your pennies and you find one that looks promising. What's next? Seriously, whatever you do, don't clean it. Even a tiny scratch from cleaning can ruin the value. Use a small digital scale to check the weight. If it's off, you might have something special. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to PCGS or NGC for grading. If it turns out you have a rare one, congratulations, you just found yourself a potential fortune. Next time you see a 1964 D penny, don't just toss it in your change jar. Give it a good look, weigh it, and check for those rare airs. Who knows? That little penny in your pocket could be worth more than your car, your house, or even your retirement fund. And if you love learning about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and coin hunting strategies coming your way. You never know which coin could be your ticket to a small fortune. Now go check your change. You might be sitting on a gold mine. Or, well, a copper mine. All right, folks, gather around because today we're talking about a coin that could turn your pocket change into a fortune. Imagine this. You're digging through some old change, maybe cleaning out your car or checking the couch cushions, and boom, you find a 1968 D Lincoln penny. No big deal, right? Just another penny. Well, what if I told you that one of these bad boys sold for a jaw-dropping $2.8 million? Yes, million. That's not a typo. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth more than my house. Sounds crazy, but stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what makes certain 1968 D pennies so valuable, how to spot them, and whether you've been casually tossing away life-changing money without even realizing it. And trust me, I've been there. Years ago, I used to roll up my spare change and cash it in like it was my own personal piggy bank. One day, after dropping off a big bag of pennies at the bank, I learned that I might have given away a coin worth thousands. Let's just say, I haven't recovered from that heartbreak. So, if you don't want to make the same mistake, stick around. So, what's the deal with this penny? It all comes down to a rare mistake made at the Denver Mint. In 1968, the U.S. Mint was cranking out Lincoln pennies like nobody's business, but a few special coins ended up being struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the wrong kind of metal. These rare errors have sent collectors into a frenzy, pushing the value of some of these pennies into the millions. Now, before you go raiding your piggy bank, let's talk details. A regular 1968 D penny is made of copper and is worth, well, about a cent. But if your penny was accidentally struck on a 90% silver planchet, you just hit the jackpot. These error coins are so rare that only a handful have ever been found, but when they do pop up, they command crazy prices. How to spot a 1968 D penny worth big money? All right. So how do you know if you have one of these rare pennies? A regular 1968 D penny weighs about 3.11 grams. But if yours weighs around 2.5 grams or less, it might have been struck on a silver dime planchet. You'll need a scale for this. Don't just try to eyeball it. Trust me, I once spent an hour staring at a penny, convinced it was special, only to find out it was just a normal, boring cent get a scale. Ever dropped a silver coin on a hard surface? It makes a distinct ringing sound, totally different from a regular penny. Now, I'm not saying you should start throwing your coins around the house, but a gentle drop on a table might give you a clue. A typical penny has a smooth edge. If you notice a reeded, grooved edge, that's a huge red flag that your coin was struck on the wrong planchet. Silver isn't magnetic. If your penny gets stuck to a magnet, it's not silver, so keep looking. Now, I know that $2.8 million price tag sounds insane, but it's real. One of these rare air pennies went to auction and sent collectors into a bidding war. And while not every 1968 D penny will sell for millions, even lower-grade examples can bring in thousands. If you think you found one, don't just go running to your local pawn shop. You'll want to get it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified coin is worth way more because buyers know it's legit. And let me tell you, there are plenty of fakes out there. I once had a guy swear up and down that he had $1 million penny. Turns out, he just polished a regular one to make it look fancy. Don't be that guy. Get it checked. Okay, so let's say you're one of the lucky ones and you think you have a rare 1968 D penny. What's next? I cannot stress this enough. Do not take a toothbrush, soap, or, heaven forbid, vinegar to your coin. Cleaning it can drop the value faster than you can say bad decision. Like I said earlier, professional authentication is key. PCGS or NGC will not only verify your coin but also give it an official grade, which determines its final value. If your coin is the real deal, selling it at a major auction is your best bet. High-end collectors will go all out for a rare air penny, and you don't want to shortchange yourself by selling it too soon. The 1968 D Lincoln penny that could make you a millionaire. Who knew that a tiny piece of copper or silver could be worth more than a brand new Ferrari? This is why it pays to check your change. Now, if you found this video helpful or at least entertaining, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I cover all kinds of hidden treasures lurking in your pocket change, and you don't want to miss the next big discovery. And hey, let me know in the comments, what's the most valuable coin you've ever found? Maybe you've got a story that could top mine. Either way, keep searching, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. Have you ever tossed a penny aside, thinking, it's just a penny? Well, buckle up, because you might just be tossing away a small fortune. Today, we're talking about a seemingly ordinary 1961 D Lincoln penny. Yep, that little copper coin jingling in your pocket could be worth a staggering $2.9 million. That's not a typo. Million. With an M. Now, I know what you're thinking. Come on, no way. A penny worth that much? Oh, absolutely. And if you're the type who still checks your spare change, you might just hit the jackpot. But before you go flipping over every penny in your collection, let's break down what makes this coin so valuable, how to tell if you have one, and of course, how you can cash in if you do. Plus, I'll share a little personal story about how I almost missed out on a valuable coin myself. Trust me, you won't want to skip that part. So, grab your change jar, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's dive in. Alright, first things first, what makes the 1961 D Lincoln penny so special? After all, there were millions of these minted in Denver. So why would one of them be worth as much as a fancy sports car or a small island? Most of the time, a 1961 D penny is worth, well, a penny. Maybe a few bucks in great condition. But then, there are the rare error coins. And errors are where the money is. The big deal with this particular penny? A double die obverse. That means when it was struck, the design was accidentally stamped twice, creating a slight but valuable doubling effect on the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile. If you see a second, ghost-like impression, you might just have one of the rarest pennies in existence. Now, why is this such a big deal? Well, collectors go nuts over errors like this. The more dramatic and clear the doubling, the higher the price tag. And in the case of the most pristine, well-preserved example, that's where we hit the jaw-dropping $2.9 million mark. Let's say you find a 1961 D penny with a doubling effect. That's great, but it won't automatically make you a millionaire. The condition of the coin matters a lot. Coin grading ranges from poor, where it looks like it went through a garbage disposal, to mint state, where it looks like it just left the factory. No scratches, dents, or signs. It was used to tighten a loose screw. A sharp, clear doubling effect. A high, uncirculated grade from a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Then congratulations, you might be sitting on a gold mine. Well, a copper mine, technically. So, how did a penny sell for nearly $3 million? Simple. Rich collectors with deep pockets and a love for rare coins. A high-grade, double-die 1961 D penny was auctioned off for a ridiculous sum because it's one of a kind. The demand for rare error pennies has skyrocketed, with more collectors hunting them down than ever before. That means if you have one, there are plenty of buyers willing to throw serious cash at you. Now, let me tell you about a time I nearly threw away a valuable coin. A few years ago, I was going through my loose change, the random stash that piles up in your car cup holder. I had this beat-up looking penny, and for a second, I thought about just tossing it into the take a penny, leave a penny tray at the gas station. But something about it looked different. So I took a closer look, and boom, an error coin. Not quite $1 million penny, but I did end up selling it for a few $100. That's a whole grocery trip for something I almost gave away. Always check your change, because you never know when you might be holding on to a fortune without realizing it. So, there you have it. The 1961 D Lincoln penny might seem like just another old coin, but if you've got the right one, you could be looking at life-changing money. Now, before you go digging through your couch cushions, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. If you love learning about coins that could make you rich, you don't want to miss what I've got coming next. And hey, if you do find a rare penny, drop a comment below and let me know. Who knows, you might just be the next coin millionaire. Alright, folks, what if I told you that a tiny, unassuming penny, something you probably toss in a jar, drop between couch cushions, or even ignore on the sidewalk, could be worth $3 million? Yeah, you heard me right. $3 million. Now, before you start flipping over every penny in your house, let me tell you about one particular coin, the 1952 Sweet penny. This little guy, with good ol' Abraham Lincoln on the front, might just be the ticket to early retirement. And if you don't check your spare change after watching this, well, you might just let a fortune slip through your fingers. But first, a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a gas station, and I paid with cash, which, let's be honest, is rare these days. The cashier handed me some change, and out of habit, I gave it a quick glance. And there it was, a wheat penny. My heart skipped a beat. I thought I hit the jackpot. Turns out, it was worth about 5 cents. But that moment right there, it changed the way I look at pennies forever. And trust me, after this video, you'll be checking every single one too. So, let's dive into what makes the 1952 Sweet penny so valuable, how you can spot one, and what to do if you strike gold. Well, copper. What's so special about this penny? Did Lincoln wink when they struck it? Did the mint sprinkle a little bit of magic on it? Not exactly. The reason this coin is worth a jaw-dropping $3 million comes down to rarity and errors. The S mint mark means this penny was made in San Francisco, one of 3 places producing pennies at the time. The total mintage for 1952 pennies was about 137 million, which is a lot. But here's the catch. Most of them were heavily circulated, worn down, or lost over time. Finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition? Nearly impossible. The big money in coin collecting often comes from errors. This particular 1952 penny is believed to have a rare misstrike or double die error, which means part of the design is slightly duplicated due to a minting mistake. These errors can make collectors go absolutely bananas, and they're willing to pay top dollar for them. The record-breaking 1952 Sweet penny that sold for $3 million was graded MS69RD. That's basically as perfect as a coin can get. It still had its original red luster, almost as if it had been minted yesterday. Coins like this are practically unicorns in the collecting world. Alright, so now that we know why it's valuable, let's talk about how you can find one. Because trust me, they're still out there. Flip over your penny and look right below the year 1952. If there's a tiny S, congrats. You've got a San Francisco mint penny. A magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe will be your best friend here. Search for doubled lettering, weird misalignments, or anything that looks off. Remember, the stranger the coin, the more it's probably worth. Even if you find a 1952 penny, don't quit your job just yet. Its value depends on how well it's been preserved. If it's scratched, worn down, or dark brown, it's likely worth just a few cents to a couple of dollars. But if it's shiny, red, and looks almost brand new, that's when we're talking serious money. Let's say you go digging through your change jar, and boom, you find a 1952 sweet penny in fantastic condition. What now? I repeat, do not clean it. Even if it looks dirty, scrubbing it can actually ruin its value. Collectors prefer coins in their original state. If you think you've got something special, send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it and give it an official grade, which can skyrocket its price. If it's truly a rare gem, auction houses like Heritage Auctions or even eBay can bring in massive bids. The key is finding serious collectors who know the value of what you have. The 1952 sweet penny that could turn a handful of change into a life-changing fortune. It's proof that sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest surprises. Next time you get a penny in your change, don't just toss it aside. Check it. Study it. Who knows? That next coin could be your $3 million lottery ticket in disguise. And if you want more tips, tricks, and deep dives into the world of valuable coins, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss out. Now go check your pockets, your piggy banks, and your couch cushions. And if you find something good, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your coin jackpot stories. All right, folks, buckle up because today we're talking about a humble little penny that could make you a millionaire. That's right. A single 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is currently valued at a jaw-dropping $3.1 million. No, I'm not making this up. And before you go tearing through your couch cushions or raiding your piggy banks, stick around because I'm going to tell you exactly what makes this coin so special, how to check if you have one, and what kind of cash you could be sitting on. Now, let me tell you a quick story. When I was a kid, my grandpa gave me a coffee can full of pennies and told me one of these might be worth a fortune someday. Did I believe him? Absolutely not. Did I spend them on candy the next day? You bet I did. If only I had known then what I know now. So, if you've got a pile of old pennies lying around, don't be like 10-year-old me, pay attention, because you could be sitting on a small fortune. Now, let's get into the juicy details. The 1981 Lincoln penny, at first glance, looks just like any other penny. Same familiar face of Honest Abe, same reverse with the Lincoln Memorial. So what's the big deal? The key factor here is that this penny has no mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Normally, that wouldn't be anything special. Most Philly pennies don't have a mint mark. But here's where it gets wild. A very rare error occurred in 1981, where a small batch of pennies was struck using a leftover 95% copper planchet from 1980, instead of the zinc-coated planchets that became standard in 1982. This makes it one of the last pure copper pennies, an accidental farewell to an era. And if that wasn't enough, some of these coins have a crazy doubling error on Lincoln's profile and the date, making them even rarer. Collectors are obsessed with this combination of features, and that's why one of these pennies recently sold for a mind-blowing $3.1 million at auction. Okay, so let's talk about how you can check if you've got one of these golden, well, copper tickets. Look under the date. If there's a tiny D or S, sorry, but it's not the one. If it's blank, you're still in the game. A normal 1981 zinc penny weighs 2.5 grams, but the rare copper error penny weighs 3.11 grams. So grab a digital scale and check. If the numbers or letters look slightly doubled, you might have a double die error, which makes it even more valuable. Condition matters. If your penny looks like it went through a garbage disposal, don't expect millions. High grade, uncirculated pennies are where the real money is. So, let's talk money. That $3.1 million sale was for a near-perfect, high-grade specimen with the doubling error. If you have a similar one, congratulations, you're rich. But even if yours isn't that rare, a regular no-mint mark 1981 penny in high condition can still fetch hundreds to thousands of dollars. Even a lower-grade one with the right weight could be worth a nice chunk of change. Now, before you rush to eBay, remember, authentication is everything. If you think you've got the real deal, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC before trying to sell it. A certified, graded coin is way more attractive to buyers and could be the difference between a couple $100 and an early retirement. All right, folks, we just went from an ordinary penny to a potential multi-million-dollar jackpot. So the next time you come across a random penny, don't just toss it in the tip jar, check it first. Because you never know, that little coin could be your golden ticket. And if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins that could change your life, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I drop new videos all the time about coins worth serious money and how to find them in your pocket change. Now, I'm off to dig through my old penny jar. Who knows? Maybe I've been sitting on $1 million coin this whole time. All right, folks, picture this. You're digging through your couch cushions, looking for some spare change, maybe enough for a coffee, and boom, you find a 2014 Lincoln penny. No big deal, right? Just a regular OL cent. But what if I told you that penny could be worth a whopping $3.20 million? Yeah, you heard me right. A single cent. The kind you'd probably flick off the table without a second thought. Today, we're diving deep into the mystery of the 2014 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, why it's worth so much, how to spot one, and the best ways to cash in if you're lucky enough to have one. So grab your jar of spare change, because you might be sitting on a gold mine without even knowing it. Now, before we get into the details, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, the kind where people are practically giving away their junk. I spotted an old coffee can filled with pennies for $1. $1. Figured I'd grab it, maybe find a wheat penny or two. Well, I get home, dump the can out, and right there in the middle of the pile is a coin that looks a little off. Turns out, it was a 1943 steel penny, worth way more than the can itself. That's when it hit me. People are sleeping on their spare change. All right, let's break it down. The 2014 Lincoln penny was minted in massive numbers, literally billions of them. But what makes this one different is that it's missing a mint mark. Normally, pennies made in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark. That's standard. But the rare 2014 penny we're talking about has a unique error or variety that sets it apart from the rest. That's what makes it a collector's dream. Now, here's where things get crazy. While most 2014 pennies are worth, well, a penny, this particular error coin has been valued at a jaw-dropping $3.20 million. Why? Because rare coin collectors are willing to pay absurd amounts for one-of-a-kind errors. Think of it like baseball cards. If you have the one rare card that no one else does, collectors will pay through the nose to own it. So how do you know if you've got one of these golden ticket pennies? The standard 2014 penny has no mint mark, but this rare version has a specific anomaly that distinguishes it. Look for doubling, off-centering, or an unusual finish. Errors like these can make a coin ultra-valuable. Some rare errors also have a slight difference in weight. If you have a precision scale, it's worth checking. If you think you've got something special, get it graded by PCGS or NGC. That little certification can mean the difference between pocket change and life-changing money. Where to sell if you strike gold. Okay, let's say you've checked your change and BM, you've got one. Now what? eBay, heritage auctions, and great collections are top choices. Sometimes, selling in person can get you a better deal. If you want quick cash, a reputable dealer can help. If you're lucky, a serious collector might offer you a top dollar price. And don't just take the first offer you get, shop around. If someone is willing to pay big, someone else might pay bigger. All right, my fellow coin hunters, here's the deal. You never know what's hiding in your pocket, your junk drawer, or even that old piggy bank collecting dust. The 2014 no-mint mark Lincoln penny proves that sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest surprises. Check your change. Every penny, every nickel, every quarter, because you never know when you'll stumble upon a coin worth millions. And if you want more tips on coins worth serious money, strategies to find hidden gems, and ways to turn pocket change into a payday, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell so you never miss out, because trust me, the next rare coin could be hiding right under your nose.